That is so cool. Is Shinji going to show up perhaps to help her out? No! This is it. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, Bleach fans around the world, we've made it. We're here at the very end at last. This is the final episode of the 1000-Year Blood War Arc Part 3, episode 40, titled My Last Words. A very fitting title for the episode as we step out into the unknown. And in case you can't tell, I'm pretty happy right now. I'm pretty excited. I've taken a little break, having reacted to episode 39 earlier. Episode 40 is now here. I've made some changes, some additions to the background itself in honour of this momentous occasion of this last episode. And now all that's left to do is to continue onwards with the finale itself. I really don't know what I want from this episode. I've got really very little idea of what to expect. Of course, I have some idea of what to expect. I have some idea of what's coming up in the manga, but I don't know what I myself want to see from this final entry into what has been an absolutely spectacular and stellar season to date. In case you haven't seen my episode 39 reaction, make sure to go and do that now, then come back here for episode 40. And speaking of episode 39, I mean, that was a pretty special one too in its own right, really bringing so many new and exciting plot threads and fights to the forefront in a way that felt like it was setting up Core 4, but then we've still got this episode to go on top of that one too. So, like I said, I've got no idea. I'm fascinated and excited to see what's in store. Episode 39, part 1 of this finale, has already done so much. I mean, Yoruichi versus Askin looks incredible. Shinji and Momo getting brand new scenes against Gerard is already more than they ever got in the manga. More, really, than I was realistically hoping for. Like, that's kind of what I was hoping to see, but then we actually see it playing out on screen in front of you, and you realise that actually they probably do have a great idea of what the fans are looking for here. So that just gets me very excited for this finale. So, enough of that. For the last time in the 1000-Year Blood War Arc Part 3, let's get on with this reaction and enjoy the episode together. As always, I'll be watching this episode from the perspective of someone who has read the 1000-Year Blood War Arc in its entirety, so expect potential spoilers in the video to come, though, I mean, there's really not much left to spoil. We are so close to the end of the manga that it's both very exciting and, frankly, a little bit terrifying and a little bit depressing, but all of that rolled into one, I'm sure it's going to be a great time. Of course, if you haven't done yet, if you enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed my previous coverage of the 1000-Year Blood War Arc Part 3, consider subscribing if you're a Bleach fan. It really would help me out, and it really would help push the channel towards that next major milestone of 300,000 subs. I'd really appreciate the support. But yeah, let's just do this thing. Here we go, episode 40, the finale to the 1000-Year Blood War Arc Part 3, titled My Last Words. I was going to say I don't know where we're going to begin, but this makes sense. The ending of episode 39. The confrontation between Ichigo and Uryu. A little bit of what we saw in that teaser trailer. Orihime and Chad arrive. The art already looks a lot better immediately. This is very clean, very nice. Hashwolf arrives. Everything is still taking place in front of this big, strange crimson orb. You have to love that Vandenreich theme. It's so good. I like the idea that Uryu has to prove himself by killing these three, and really he doesn't stand the slightest chance. Against Ichigo, at least. That shot of Hashwolf raising his head from the teaser is so good, drawn so well. Very creepy. And ultimately, Uryu's Volstendish, here we go. Are we going to get a new Ichigo versus Uryu fight scene? Aside from the holy form, this is the same as the manga. Sail Schneider, which he uses to shoot them through the floor, but that is not happening here, okay, or it might do in a minute. But now we've got the opening. Okay. Pretty conventional start so far. Nothing wrong with that. That shot of Hashwolf revealing his face is a much better introduction to the fact that he's wielding the Almighty than what happens previously, but, cool, yeah. Oh, man. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. I'm really excited. Maybe we'll get a new Ichigo versus Uryu fight. That would be a nice way to bookend part 3. Episode 30, they had a big fight. One of the best and biggest fights of the course so far, in my opinion. Episode 40, they have another big fight. But I mean, ultimately, I don't think it can be that big based on where this confrontation is inevitably headed. So we'll have to see. Also, I'm gonna miss this opening. This has been my favourite opening so far. Very closely contested still with opening 1, but I really do love how this looks. It's artistic, it's stylish, and the song is so good as well. It is laden with spoilers from start to finish, but I mean, for us manga readers at least, that's not a big deal. It's so cool, and I love that the Soul King's in it as well. Really nice touch. What is this? Is this a flashback? Soken Ishida! You can't do this to me already. Yhwach is not the saviour of the Quincy's. This is what Uryu was reading episode 6! The Auswählen in the human world! Oh my god, are we gonna see how Uryu stopped the Auswählen? How it didn't work? That's like... Oh my god, that's like one of the big questions we have left. Katagiri? Uryu's down. Uryu was affected? Obviously not dead, but he looks in bad shape. So that was, I guess, another gemished Quincy who happened to look an awful lot like Katagiri, who collapsed. And then Katagiri herself was okay, it seemed, in the moment at least. Now, we know that she doesn't die for another 3 months or so after that incident, but Uryu went down and looked in a bad way. I love what Soken is writing here. Yhwach is a tyrant. He will use the Quincy's of the living world to regain his own powers. That's exactly what happened. Soken foresaw everything. I mean, we have a responsibility. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Back in the Soul Society arc, and this is a new Ichigo versus Uryu fight. Are you kidding me? Orihime and Chad kind of like looking like they want to get involved. I'm not sure why they don't necessarily. But yeah, back in the Soul Society arc, of course, everything Uryu did was mandated by his conviction to follow his grandfather's teachings, his ways, and that is the same here. Soken having an impact on Uryu's moral compass is something that was sorely lacking from the final arc, and I love that he is the one who... Wow, Ichigo just cutting the top of Varvelt in half? Yhwach in his throne is like, I just lost an entire story of my castle. Orihime holding a shield above her head? That's really cool. Sternenstaub makes another reappearance. We're going to see Getsuga Juji show again. No, Ichigo just threw his sword at Uryu. That's pretty cool. And then catches it in his hand. Wow, Ichigo is not playing around this time. But, oh, okay. Okay, well, there's a lot going on. Chad grabbing Ichigo's sword to get involved, but it was their combined attack that sent them through the floor. Okay. So we've ended up in the same place. Oh my god, and the Bambis are back. Is she... Okay, so what happened with the Soldat Shades? Giselle just kind of threw one of their heads aside like it was nothing? So was that it? Now they're leaping into battle? Oh, there's a lot going on. I'm a tiny bit disappointed if that Soldat thing was just absolutely nothing. Askin's... Okay, an extra scene for Askin versus Yoruichi. This is all leading to the moment where Yoruichi is struck by a gift ball and brought down, essentially. Again, great music. Really hammering home how dangerous these villains are. This is cool. Oh. Yoruichi just, like, generating lightning orbs to blind Askin, then punching him and then sending him flying. Gerard... That first-person view of Varvelt is so... They have done Gerard so well. I'm so glad that Gerard has been... This music is... Is that Hinamori? Okay, so Hinamori is still okay. Does that mean Shinji's okay? I mean, she looks kind of actually in a bad way, to be fair. Oh my god, Gerard bringing his eye up to the window. That is such a good visual. They are... I mean... That is so cool. Is Shinji going to show up, perhaps, to help her out? No way! Yeah! Yes! No! What? And Shinji's back. Does this mean Kensei as well? How is Rose? No! What? And the Fullbringers, are Ginjo and Tsukishima going to be in this episode as well? Oh my god, the Vizard are all back. And they were all wearing their hollow masks. Shinji taking off his Hayori. I think they all had removed their Hayori in the end. I need to see that scene again. They all have the hollow masks. It's like they just... Oh my god, we're heading down. Oh my god, Ginjo and Tsukishima as well? You can't do this to me. What is going on in this episode? Leel's raining down on the Serete. Oh, we're going to get to see Izuru as well. This episode is going very hard. Aizen as well, love to see that. Oh my god, I literally can't believe the Vizard are back. And so Mayuri did save Kensei and Rose. Okay, so there's the Leel Flamingos. They look fine. I like the fact they're glowing constantly. That's pretty nice. That kind of reinforces that they are essentially just his power. That's okay. I don't mind that. Here he comes with the moon and everything. Brilliant. Amazing music choice. What a haunting sudden just blare of the trumpets as you see him. He looks so good! Izuru raising his head like that had no right to look as cool as it did. Is that it though? Okay. If that's it for Izuru for now, we're missing a lot of his scene. About half of his scene is not here. Okay. And Leel didn't say half of his dialogue either. That's interesting. Okay, so now... Jeez. Okay, so now we're on the flashback, the brief flashback. I actually really want to go back and have a look at that Vizard scene, but we're not going to do that just yet. I mean, are they just going to lose, though? So, I think I saw Hachi with his Zanpakuto as well. Like, that's a callback to the fake Karakura town. Is he actually going to use it? I like that Shinji took his Hayori off, like revealing his waistcoat and stuff, and then he had his mask on. There's potentially a lot to talk about there. I mean, that's so good that Kensei and Rose are back. And Rose got an awesome moment as well. That Gerard sequence was very good, and that's got me so excited for the rest of his fight. I mean, that's the first of what's like... Well, not even the first. That's like the second of what's going to be major, major changes. I kind of like having the little Uryu flashback. Interesting that he didn't, like, speak to Ryuken in the flashback like he does in the manga, but it doesn't really... I don't think it's really necessary. I mean, this is mostly playing out exactly the same. Although, I've just realised that the whole thing with Uryu hiding chips around Varvelt has been cut. Or it's been moved. There's the Sun Key. I mean, that does look an awful lot like the big red portal thing. Right, but 5 levels down, he says, there is a gate of the sun set up to invade the world of the living, so it's not that one above them then. I don't know what that is. Maybe a gate of the sun to invade the Soul Society? You know, back when they had to use that. Okay, so, I mean, that was Uryu's reveal that he is actually a good guy and has been all along. I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, it's basically exactly the same as it is in the manga. Apart from they have cut out everything about him blowing Varvelt up, basically. Using the chips that are the same material as the Sanrei glove. So I wonder if he has a different plan this time? It does say that it's something only I can do. Something only I, who inherited my master and my mother's blood, can do. That's a new line. And wasn't Katagiri Gemished Quincy, though? I wouldn't have thought Soken was. Isn't Soken supposed to be Ect? So what correlation is there? That's fascinating. Uryu's major plan seems to have maybe changed. I mean, it always was a little bit half-hearted, this whole, I'm just going to blow the place up with these Sanrei glove chips. And Hashwolf just finds them all. Man, Hashwolf does look really cool. Is he about to start commanding the shadows? Okay, so yeah, he does have some kind of power rippling around him. I mean, that does kind of look like the Soul King's Reiatsu in a sense. I mean, I, like everyone else, is just very, very excited to see this fight. I'm excited to see how different it is. Because it's gonna be. I can't believe that Vizard scene. That's like something out of a fan rewrite of the fight. That's like a fan rewrite of the battle with Gerard. That's justice for the Vizards. I mean, they haven't even started fighting yet, and it already feels like it. It's unfathomable how badly the Vizards were used in the manga. already this is better. Just having Kensei and Rose de-zombified and back makes so much sense because Hitsugai and Matsumoto are back. And they've all come together. And they helped save Renji in the last episode as well. It's weird how Hashworth always seemed to be a lot more evil and sinister once he had the Almighty active. Maybe that was just because he was very happy to be proven right about Uryu. I have to say, like, it's a little bit... I don't know if anticlimactic is the right word, but having Uryu go so far down the villainous route only to be revealed to be a hero in the exact same way as the manga does kind of feel like, okay. But, I mean, ultimately, there's no denying that that's the end. That's where I thought the episode would end in my predictions. Okay, we're like halfway through. No! Isshin and Ryukin already? I mean, I figured they were setting this up last time, but... Oh, we are in for a good time in the next core. This is like 10 chapters earlier than they arrive in the manga. Okay, it's not over yet. Hitsugai and Matsumoto. Mayuri's out for the count. Kyoraku's out for the count. Squad 12. What is going on with Mimihagi and Ukitake? What was that? Now the seal has returned? And the Bambis are dead. Not too surprising. I like that Yuha Buck just like hasn't moved. That's pretty badass. That's pretty badass. Doesn't this mean that Ichigo and Orihime are going to find all their bodies when they arrive? Wow, that was cool. That was really clean. Okay, so it is over. The way the Castle of Varvelt turned into the ending was really badass. Okay, I assume there's a post-credit scene. We're not going to look at that just yet. I have thoughts. Obviously, I have thoughts. First and foremost, the Vizards, because that is the biggest. That's for those of us who have read the manga, that's the biggest part of the episode. Shinji has already been massively redeemed in many ways. In the manga, when he saves Hinamori and Gerard kind of slaps him out of existence, that's literally it for him in the final battle. Now he's back, and he's brought some friends. So it does kind of seem like they are actually going to structure the Gerard fight in stages, I would assume. I think the Vizards are going to get an actual battle with Gerard, which they will inevitably lose. Now, the key here is just because they face their inevitable defeat doesn't mean they have to be written out of the story. You know, some Vizards could hang around and keep fighting. But eventually, they will pave the way for Kenpachi, Byakuya, and Hitsugaya. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But it is amazing just to see them in general. Will we see Bankai again? Will we see Love's Bankai? Because we haven't seen that before. Okay, what's going on? It's just a recap, I think, of the cores so far. This is episode 3 or something like that. A purple Yuha bark arm. That's kind of... Quincy Daten? Quincy Encyclopedia, hosted by Askin. Oh, what are we gonna learn something new here? Could we possibly learn? I don't even want to say it. I'm not going to say it. Why is Askin talking to me about how to make a cafe au lait? Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Askin fan, as everyone knows. But I do think he is probably the right person to host something like this. It's kind of weird that he's just like that shot, for example, is taken out of the manga and then and so's that. These are like static manga images that are kind of semi-animated. This is a little bit like the Con thing from the end of Core 2, right? That's from, oh, there he is, speaking of the devil. This shot of Askin is from the volume cover of 69. That's kind of neat. Yuha Buck's original Royal Guards. Okay, we're actually going to learn something. Okay. Awesome full body shots. Zeedritz looks badass. That is such a cool outfit. Oh, there you go. Johann Zeedritz. Cool. Oh, so we probably will get the girl's name. Okay, so her name is Nikita. Well, it's not Nikita Deathlock. It's Nikita Deathlock, which, I mean, it makes perhaps a little more sense. It's slightly less edgy. Okay, so they've got like a relationship chart. Does Zedrit's at the top mean that he is the boss after all? If that's the case, then why was Hubert given Lieutenant Commander position of the Sternritter? Unless Zedrit's inhabited a spot even higher than Hashwolf at that period of time. Oh yeah, so they got killed by the original Shinigami. That's pretty cool. What the hell is going on? I like Askin as much as the next guy, but this is kind of weird. Now he's taking us through his current battle. This isn't the same music that was playing during Shinji and Pepe's scenes, I don't think, is it? So as you can see, I'm in the middle of a battle. Yep. I like that we found out the proper full names and got the full body artwork of the original guard. I feel like this time could be used. Is that supposed to be Askin doing a Bambietta impression? I didn't know I needed that in my life, but okay. Is he, like, insulting all of the Bambis? This is very random. And he has a little Toto impression as well. This is very random. I feel like we could be using this time to learn a lot more about the Quincy, but I think originally they're talking about Ichigo. Are they now supposed to be talking about Askin? I mean, it's kind of funny if this is actually how they kind of interacted. I'll take anything in regards to Sternritter interactions, to be fair. You know, it is kind of weird how these are literally just ripped straight from the manga, these images. Okay, so the episode's going to end, apparently. We're almost done filling up the time asked by the producer. At least they're honest about it. Okay, that was very strange. That was very strange. No, very similar ending to Core 2, essentially filling time. But I think it's a little bit more understandable in this core because we essentially got the full 13 episodes because they gave us half an episode's worth of brand new content, which was the half we missed out on in episode 27. So it actually works out fine here. They wanted to reach the full 13 episode cap, whereas we didn't really get that in Core 2 because episode 13 just kind of ended halfway through and there was no extra content anywhere else. So, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I like Askin. I feel like the only annoying thing for me with that section is that they just could have been used to tell us something. I'm going to say it. Shrifts K and N. You know, why couldn't you have had Robert and BG9 show up in that scene and have a funny little moment where they reveal their shrifts? Maybe Robert makes some comment about how he didn't even get to reveal his name in the anime. I don't know, something like that. In a sense, that worked out pretty well, that last 5 minutes or so, because it gave me a chance to decompress. It wasn't crazy right until the very end. So yeah, it gave me a chance to decompress. So we have the Vizards having this amazing new sequence. I'm very, very keen to see where that ends up. I hope they don't just get destroyed. I don't think they will. Honestly, I don't think they will, because I think you don't do a new sequence like that and then fail to deliver in every kind of way. So I'd love to see bankai again from like Rose, if that's even feasible in this fight. Kensei will likely use Tekken Tach Kaze. I'd love to see Love's bankai that we've never seen before. Mashiro Zanpakuto, I don't think is too likely. Same goes for Hachi. I think that was likely all just a callback to the Fate Karakura Town arc. And obviously Shinji's not going to use his bankai here either. But still, clearly they are doing the Gerard fight in actual distinctive stages. The first stage will be the Vizards, and then whatever will happen that will take us to the other captains. So, yeah, that's very, very exciting. All of the stuff with Soken Ishida is awesome. I love Uryu is still following his teachings, his moral compass. It is kind of funny that Soken says, like, you know, we have a responsibility to protect the ones we love, our family and friends, etc., when Everything But the Rain painted him as basically a absent father and husband, so that's kind of funny. But I mean, I love that still resonates at the very core of why Uryu does what he chooses to do. It's still a little bit flimsy, I think, this whole idea that he just didn't want to tell Ichigo and the others to, I guess, keep them out of danger and stop them from interfering. That is kind of flimsy, especially when they've been through so much at this point, but that is in the manga as well. And, you know, a fair bit of Uryu's motivation, not his motivation, more so his plan, was actually trimmed out of the episode, so I do wonder if there is more to that, and maybe it ties into that very interesting brief flashback with Uryu's mother, Katagiri. Yeah, there's a lot to think about. My mind is already going kind of crazy with what could potentially be going on in that sequence. Yeah. We'll discuss that in the review. That's going to be very, very cool to to dive into, because the whole idea of Yhwach being defeated by Yamamoto 1,000 years ago is like the biggest blind spot we still have regarding the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. We don't know what happened in the immediate aftermath. You know, how did Yhwach escape that fight? How did he end up in a coma, essentially? What happened? Did Hashwolf and the surviving Sternritter somehow whisk him away from under the enemy's noses? We have no idea, and obviously that kind of leads into Yhwach regaining his strength, regaining his powers, and we never found out in the manga how Uryu was able to resist the Ausvalen. Heavily implied to be the antithesis, but that also doesn't really make any sense. There's so much to talk about. This episode was great, even though there was 5 minutes of, time filler at the end. It is what it is. It ended where I thought it would end as of my more recent predictions video, talking about the finale specifically, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that was really... that Vizard scene, I cannot believe it. When Rose's voice... I was expecting Shinji to maybe turn up and help out, but Rose's voice, then Kinshara coming around Gerard's head, Rose getting that badass moment where he kind of leads the charge. No one's going to care about that as much as I do. Some people might. But yeah, wow. Wow. And the Fullbringer tease as well. This is just me kind of remembering things as I go. I really would have loved to have seen Ginjo and Tsukishima, but the Fullbringer tease is awesome. I would love for them to do a little bit more. What if they're going to go help fight Lille? Because they were kind of looking at the Serete at the time, but that's quite far away. I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen, but... yeah, and a lot of the Lille Kira stuff was cut as well. A lot of Lille's dialogue, basically all of Lille's dialogue was cut, so... yeah. There's a lot to talk about. My mind is kind of swimming, so... that was very, very exciting. I did get a chance to decompress a little bit thanks to the Askin sequence at the end there. But yeah, for the most part, that was a fantastic finale and a fitting way, I think, to cap off what has been a spectacular season of Bleach. Really, really incredible. And, this is probably recency bias talking, but I think it's probably my favourite core of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc so far. It's between this and Core 1. I loved Core 2, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's quite on the same level as 1 and 3. But I'm just rambling at this point. I know I need to end this video because I'm just rambling. I need to collect my thoughts and continue to bring you my reviews and everything else now that Core 3 has wrapped up. The conflict is done. And what a core it was. Okay, though, guys, as always, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. What did you think of episode 40, My Last Words? Did you enjoy it? Did you love it? What was your favourite moment, your biggest surprise? I'd love to hear all of that down in the comments below. What do you think of the weird little time filler moment at the end? Askin's impressions of the Bambis was pretty funny, to be fair. I did quite like that. Yeah, I'd love to hear all of your thoughts about this episode and episode 39 too as well, if you like, down in the comments below, though I do implore you to go and watch that reaction as well, and then both of the reviews will be dropping soon. And yeah, now that we're at the end of the video, guys, there's nothing else to do but to thank you all sincerely once again for joining me on this journey. We've, of course, we've watched together every single episode of the 1,000-Year Blood War Arc Part 3, every episode of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc to date. That's 40 live reactions, and each and every one of them has been an absolute blast. And it is a total privilege of mine to be able to do this, and for so many of you to care as well. It just does mean the absolute world to me. It's so much fun to do as well. I absolutely love doing it. And yeah, I really do appreciate you all being on this journey with me. And we, of course, have one last core to do as well. No idea when that's going to be coming, but I hope to see you all again for another set of live reactions and reviews when that call rolls around. So yeah, from me to you one last time, guys, thank you so very much for joining me on these videos. It really does mean the absolute world to me. But yeah, I want to end then, as we always do, by giving a massive shout out and saying a huge thank you to my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. I really do appreciate each and every one of you so very much. If you want to support me over on Patreon as well, if you enjoy the work that I do here, it really does make it possible over there, so thank you very much. And yeah, that's it from me, guys. As always, I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you later. And I'll see you then. That Vizard scene was basically fanfiction in the best way possible.